It's like watching Fast and Furious mixed with Deadpool and Wolverine.
No.
Yes,
Hi, I'm Wes,
this is Penny.
and we're going to talk about Penny's first time watching Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Let's just start with your thoughts on the first Terminator.
It was fine. I mean, it was a classic movie.
You gave it 2 out of 5 stars.
That's fine for me. I said fine. I didn't say it was great, right? It's like those classic movie that you kind of have to watch so you know what it's about. But I'm not too crazy about like the story or like the shooting style. I mean, it is a movie way back then, so it's not like I can use today's standard for it, but I liked it okay.
A cyborg assassin known as the Terminator is sent from the future to protect John Connor, a young boy destined to lead the human resistance against a malevolent artificial intelligence called Skynet. This time, the Terminator is a reprogrammed model sent by the future resistance, and he is pitted against a more advanced and relentless Terminator, the T-1000, which can shapeshift and is determined to kill John. As the two Terminators clash, John, his mother, Sarah Connor, and the robotic protector race against time to prevent Skynet's impending apocalyptic rise. What are your first impressions on Terminator 2 Judgment Day?
I like it a little bit better than the first one, but it's weird that he played the bad guy in the first movie and now he's playing the good guy in the second movie. And it took me a little bit to figure that out because the bad guy. But then I saw the other cyborg and that dude didn't laugh or smile at all, so I got the sense that he's probably the bad person here.
Yeah, we'll get to that, the marketing and kind of your fresh eyes just going into the movie without it being ever spoiled for you.
Yeah.
So would you agree Terminator 2 is a lot more action packed, a lot more modern looking than Terminator 1?
Modern looking? How?
I mean, watching it now, I think it looks actually pretty modern for the time. Like, besides them using phone booths and, some of the model cars and everything, but it's much more modern looking than I thought Terminator 1 was.
To me, they're pretty similar. I think the style was similar. How many years were they shoot apart from each other?
7.
Oh wow. Well, they felt pretty much the same to me, to be honest.
With the Terminator 2 marketing, they made it like super obvious that the Terminator was a good guy in this one. Like, no qualms about it.
Now his mission,
get down,
is to protect it.
Come with me if you want to live.
If you watch the movie without knowing that, it kind of leads you to believe that the Terminator is still a bad guy and that the T-1000 is the resistance fighter like Kyle Reese was in the first one. So I'm wondering, like, since you went in without seeing any trailers or anything, what you thought, what was happening in that first part of the movie. Did you think the Terminator was still a bad guy? Did the twist catch you off guard?
I mean, the way he showed up in the second movie is pretty much the same way that he showed up in the first one, right? And he was still like harming people and stuff, but like, I mean, he is a cyborg. It's not like he knows not to kill innocent people. But I just kind of assumed that he would be the bad guy because that was the logic thinking. But then you saw the second dude coming out, and he definitely have a way more evil presence. His face did not look friendly. So I was confused for a minute. But then to the part where they were both chasing, they both showed up in a casino. Was it a casino?
No, it was an arcade.
At that scene where they both show up with their guns at the mall with the kid, and then Arnold saved the kid, so, it was pretty obvious he wasn't there to harm the kid, and then
Well, he says, get down. It's supposed to be the big twist, like, oh, that's the good Terminator. He's a good guy this time.
Get down.
Oh, I I didn't really.
You didn't buy it that he was a bad guy, or
I just didn't know. I just kind of assumed he is gonna be the bad guy because that makes more sense to me. So I am not a huge fan of the twist because I personally prefer just one actor stick with what he is. You know, like how I am also not crazy about the idea of what's his name? Iron Man being another character. I prefer him just stick with who he is. But I saw that he's a good guy this time, and didn't I make the joke that I just persuade myself that that's just a skin that they use. Okay, it's just a piece of skin they put outside of a robot, and it's probably an army of robots that look like Arnold. So
yeah, I think when Arnold Schwarzenegger was first cast in Terminator 1, that it's like one of his first roles. So in that 7-year span, he was in a lot of movies. He showed he had charisma, and if he's going to return as a Terminator, he's not going to just be like this robotic killing machine again. He's shown he's got star power, he's got charisma. So I think like the face turn, that's a wrestling term, that being a good guy this time, it makes sense, especially if they're going with the liquid metal Terminator that's way more powerful than him. But like I said, the marketing did ruin that twist, and like seeing it with fresh eyes, like I was seeing like how much they were going to try to make him look like the bad guy again, and he goes into the bar and tosses those guys around. It's kind of played for laughs a little bit because everyone's kind of looking at him like he's this hot naked guy walking through the bar, and then they play Bad to the Bone when he's leaving. It doesn't seem so menacing, so I see those are like little sprinkles of things to kind of telegraph that he's probably a good guy this time.
he did throw someone onto the grills.
Well, the guy had it coming, apparently. Oh, what did you think about some of the action scenes? Like, that's the thing that really blows me away with this movie, because you don't really see action movies like this anymore. Like, they use real cars, or wrecking real cars, or taking a semi and actually taking a semi off of a bridge, landing it on another level, and a lot of this stuff now is just like pure CGI. But what was your take on some of the scenes like that?
Like, yeah, I mean, it was fun to watch, right? And I don't feel like there were parts that were boring. It was good paced, and to watch that they chase each other with the cars, with the motorcycle, it was fun. But it's like watching Fast and Furious mixed with Deadpool and Wolverine.
No.
Yes, because not.
Fast and Furious. Have you seen some of the ridiculous shit they do on that? And it's not real cars.
I've only watched the early ones, which I didn't hate. I mean,
No.
you know.
No. No.
But my like it. I grew up watching real action movie stuff. I am never. I'm fond of like the Jackie Chan type of action movie where you use your actual movement of the body to create something that's entertaining. So to the cars crashing, I mean, it can be fun, but I've had my fair share of watching Fast and Furious. So, like, hey, you have to admit, like, for someone to watch the first Fast and Furious, it was different. It's not.
Fast and Furious is basically a remake of Point Break.
Which I did not.
Another movie you haven't seen, and it's much better. But
okay.
I am an FBI agent!
And then another thing is like, okay, it reminds me of the fight between Deadpool and Wolverine, because none of those robots can die.
Well, I mean, one cannot get damaged, but the other one's getting pretty fucked up.
Yes, but it was till almost the end of it where it's getting, fucked up. But for the first half or most part of the movie, they were just shooting each other with guns. which I did get a little bit bored at times because you shoot each other. Basically, the purpose is to slowing it down.
Yeah, because he's liquid metal and he's super fast and it's super creepy that he's like running and catching up to the car, and all they can do is shoot him to push him back a little bit so they can get away. It's like,
I know, and then I get the idea, like, and I understand it's because there's another two humans involved, right? Like, if the liquid robot get closer, then maybe the humans are in much more danger, so they need to shoot him and slow him down. But I think it was fine. But maybe I'm just impatient. Maybe halfway through, I'm already thinking, okay, let's get to the point where they find out a way to destroy him.
all right.
But I did enjoy like the second half a lot better, just because it got past to like, you know, the actual thinking of how to destroy this guy, I guess.
Well, like, I think this has a lot of extra layers to it. You have John Connor, and he's grown up to think he's this great warrior, and he feels like he's been lied to his mom. Then he finds out his mom's telling the truth, and he's growing up without his dad, who's gonna be he's probably not even born yet. John Connor's dad, Kyle Reese, and then he's got this surrogate father in the Terminator, and then he has to say goodbye to the Terminator. It's got a lot of extra layers to it. I think Edward Furlong was even an actor at the time, and
Who's that?
he played John Connor.
Oh.
And you have Linda Hamilton, who acts like a crazy person, a jacked up crazy person. And yeah, I what do you think of the performances?
The acting was great. I didn't like the kid.
I don't like kids, period. So
You can say that.
is there a kid in a movie that you do like?
I don't know. I don't remember.
You don't like any kids. Okay.
Okay. It's because the kid made me feel a little bit, just a tiny little bit cringy, because he was rescued by Arnold, and he was like trying to tell him, you know, what actually happened, that his mom isn't crazy. And some of the acting there just make me feel like it was a little bit superficial. That's it. So when it gets to the point where they met Dyson, and from that point on, I liked almost everything about, you know, about the movie, the acting, and the story from that point on. But before, I guess I was just a little impatient. I was just trying to find out where they're going. But they did pack a lot of the plot and twist at the end of, like, for the second half of the movie.
Well, I'll just tell my brief history of Terminator 2. You know, it was like 10 when it came out, 9 or 10, and then they had like just a bunch of toys. I had a bunch of Terminator toys. I actually went as the Terminator for Halloween one year, and I had like the metal thing grafted on my face and a light up eye.
What the?
And yeah, and there was like a lot of cool toys. There was this one toy I always wanted but I never got, and it's basically the Terminator without the skin, and you put this like liquid stuff in and pump it in there. It covers the Terminator and it makes it look like Arnold Schwarzenegger with, you know, fleshy and stuff. You can like tear off pieces to make him look battle damaged. The thing looks kind of stupid now, but when I was a kid, I always wanted that.
That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now create your own Terminator with the BioFlesh Regenerator.
I'm back! Yeah? Think again. Battle damage!
Well, there were several sequels after this. I don't think we're probably going to watch those anytime soon. About a decade later came Terminator 3, and there was, you know, he came back in time again. John Connor's an adult, Sarah Connor's dead, and they have this digital Terminator called the Terminatrix. It's basically like a great value Terminator 2. Basically, it's like it's basically like the same movie, but just not as good. But it had like a really cool ending. Then there was Terminator Salvation that came out. This basically is sort of a continuation of Terminator 3, and it takes place during the war with the machines. And that was a movie I was like really pumped about seeing, but they like recast. So in Terminator 3, I forgot to mention this, they recast John Connor. Like the different actor, and then he's got like a girlfriend in it who survives the movie, and then they're married and she's pregnant and everything in the next movie, but they recast both those actors. So it just feels really disconnected. And like the war scenes, you know how it's like all dark and it's laser guns. It's not like that. It looks like Mad Max, and they're actually shooting like actual machine guns. And I thought it was okay. It had a lot more potential. I think they just hired the wrong director for it, and I don't think it really did much at the box office because they were supposed to try to make a trilogy out of it. After that was Genesis, which is fucking awful. Like, so they basically remade Terminator 1. They recast Sarah Connor. She's played by Daenerys from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And Kyle Reese, and that basically it's the same movie except for there's a liquid Terminator, and then they go to the future where they meet their son John Connor, because Kyle Reese, the Terminator, and Sarah Connor meet John Connor, but John Connor's evil and he's a Terminator. It is, yeah, it sounds ridiculous. It sucked, and I don't think it did very well either. And then the last movie was Dark Fate, and it was okay. It was like a different take. Like they changed the future, and it's like not really Skynet anymore, it's something else. But they did some like terrible things in it, like they killed off John Connor as a kid. They tried to reboot the franchise and it just didn't work. I think it just kind of shit on the Terminator 2 basically, like everything that came before it. And in the 2000s there was a Sarah Connor Chronicles, and it's basically like a TV show about Sarah Connor and John after Terminator 2. And Sarah Connor is played by Lena Headey, who is Cersei Lannister in Game of Thrones. Can you see that?
I personally really like the actress who played Sarah Connor.
Linda Hamilton, and she came back for that Dark Fate that just came out a few years ago, and she's really good in it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she fit that character. You know, sometimes you get this feeling that someone really is that character, and I think she is, and I just like her figure, her style, the way she acts. I feel like it was pretty on point for that character.
And now I'm gonna come back to Sarah Connor Chronicles real quick, but it was actually pretty good. It lasted 2 seasons. It has some interesting ideas, but I'm not going to suggest you watch it because you apparently don't like time travel stuff. So
I don't time travel stuff, but it's weird. The one time travel movie that I enjoyed was what's that DC movie,
the Flash.
Yes.
You didn't like Back to the.
It's okay. That was old. I'm sorry. It's old. When something looks old. And okay, let me rephrase. When a sci-fi movie looks old, it just kind of loses me. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm okay with like old movies like, you know, Forrest Gump or Shawshank Redemption. Like
Sci-fi movies look dated to you.
yeah, it does because obviously these days the sci-fi movie looks so good or whatever. Hey.
Some of them look kind of terrible, but
Hey, I don't look at the details. I think I just have a general like impression on, how everything looks. And I'm you know that I'm not crazy about sci-fi in the first place. And for it to really like catch my eyes, it really needs to either look real or like out of this world, like wow. What's happening? What is that? It's like Dune, very, very cinematic.
The new Dune, not the old one. Apparently, yeah.
Yes.
What's wrong with Gurney?
So to watch these older sci-fi movie again, like I'm not saying these are bad because I know like for a lot of people who are your age or your generation, they are like the foundation or like the beginning of great sci-fi movies. So I'm not.
Yeah, this Terminator 2, it's good to point out that this is like at the pinnacle of like the start of CGI, as you can tell.
Yeah.
I think the CGI actually looks pretty good for the most part, like the liquid metal Terminator.
Oh yeah.
And this and Jurassic Park, I mean, another early CGI. And it's funny because both of them look better than a lot of these CGI in movies today.
Yeah, I like the liquid metal person and a lot of the cool things that they did on him, where, he faked to be the stepmother. And then while the stepfather was talking, it was just like, just 1 millisecond and he was dead. And the funny part is they didn't even shoot the death of the stepfather first. They moved that camera over to him once she hung up on the phone, and then it was just like that part was really really cool.
Okay, so give some final thoughts and rate the movie out of 5 stars.
So for the second Terminator, I like it a lot better than the first one. I like the performance. I like the story a lot. It was surprising of where they were going. And I liked the ending of the movie. Obviously, they turn the robot into someone who has a little bit of a human, feelings and emotions. And I think that's probably what they were going for Arnold's character. So the rating would be 3 out of 5. This is good. Okay, 3 out of 5 is good for me when I rate a old sci-fi movie. Okay, like I said, I'm not like a crazy fan of Terminator just in general, but 3 out of 5 means that I really enjoyed the movie. It's not something that I will personally want to watch again, but I wouldn't mind you showing our kids about it. So that's good, right? That's good appreciation on this movie.
Okay. I think it's an easy 5 stars for me. I think it's a masterpiece, honestly. Like, they just don't make movies like this. Like James Cameron, like, I just watched Titanic in the theater, and when I saw Titanic when I was in high school on VHS, I'm like, this is overrated, because everyone at the time, all the girls were just obsessed with it, wore Titanic t-shirts, but I went to see it again with you in the theater, and I was just blown away. I thought it was a masterpiece because they don't make movies like this anymore. It just doesn't seem like it, and I put Terminator 2 in that same category. I don't think they make action movies like this where they're shutting down streets in LA and like just crashing cars and driving freaking semis off of buildings and people actually jumping at a helicopter. And
Oh, that was real?
well, yeah. that they didn't have the CGI as they do now, but yeah, it's emotional. It takes everything about Terminator and just turns it up to 11. It's just infinitely rewatchable, and I think it is a masterpiece and probably one of the greatest action movies of all time.
Terminator 2, Judgment Day. This time, he's back. For good.
Trust me.
So that's our talk about Terminator 2. If you have any ideas about what Penny should watch next, leave it in the comments. If you want to complain about her rating of Terminator 2, leave it in the comments as well. Make sure to like and subscribe, hit that bell icon, and we'll see you next time. Bye.